Give some of y'all some time to join in here. I know some of y'all take longer than others. Dang, none of y'all joining this mug. Alright, anyways, we just gonna get on with the point. Uh, so this is my first live. Uh, so pretty much what's about to happen. This motor about to come out. That motor about to go in. Um, I had it. I have problems with it right now. I had a cam sensor, crank sensor, a couple other sensors that I need for the motor, and it'll be 100%. It'll drop in here with that 400 built 400 trans. I got a whole video coming on what's been done to the car. Oh, what's up, Chevy Boss Rider? Well, like I said, though, I have a whole video on what's been done to the car, what got to be done to it, how much I have invested in it, what I'm in for. Um, but yeah, though, got the 20s on it right now, and I will be uploading that video on how to tub 20s and all that type of stuff, and what you need to tub ties and all that. But like I said, I got that Fender Road, putting that video up for you, box. So be on the lookout for that. Uh, like I said though, if y'all know anybody who looking for a Chevrolet motor, small block 387, $1,500, I'll let it go. Like I said, that's a real good motor. Um, a little messy right now. I'm about to clean up here. Just got done with messing with it. Here go the Camaro. Like I said, I'm just show y'all around a little bit, show y'all what I'm working with. Here go the Camaro. Like I said, I try to keep all the parts for certain cars in the car that it go in. Uh, like I said, simple. See, it's gonna be the race car. Let's see, what else can I show y'all? I mean, it's nothing really going on right now. Um, I'll probably go back and fire the El Camino back up. Like I said, simple little build. MS4 cam, valve springs, rockers, push rods. I was gonna do head gaskets on it, but I said, you know what, I ain't gonna mess with that. I'm gonna keep stock truck accessories on it until I find some Corvette accessories or some Camaro accessories that come up for cheap. I got the long tube headers, inch and 7/8 in the garage. Um, what else? What else? What else? I do have another video for y'all on how I got these fans all wired up, and I'll upload that probably tonight. I'll probably go live again tonight once everything all cleaned up. Um, let's see, y'all want to ask any questions, anything like that? I'll answer while I'm on live right now. Oh yeah, and we also having a track day coming up Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember which one. We will be at the track, Royal Pumper Raceway. If we don't get rained out, we'll be there. So yeah, it's another piece. Yeah, man, I'm trying to get it done. It's a lot of work, you know, trying to balance this, doing other things, work and all that. It's a lot to try to balance. Uh, yeah, so you can get this right here. If you do have a G-Bike, you can get this from Mike's and Monty's right there. Or if you even have a box, these will fit on a box. It's all chrome plated on it. I don't want to peel too much off of it. You see it's chrome. But let's see, what else? What else can I tell y'all off the top of my head? There's a lot of videos coming. I have like 5 or 6 videos like lined up. Some of them just gonna be raw videos. Some of them live videos. Uh, some of them edited. Just all depends. Um, see you got the big boat over there. Oh yeah, let me show y'all my dad car. The door ain't locked on it. So little cool story on my dad car. This right here is a original from the factory Oldsmobile El Camino with a back end of an El Camino on it. This is from the factory. Um, there is information up on this car on some forums. If you look at them, G-Body forums, I think there's one box forum. I don't know how I got on there, but there's some box forums on it. But as you see, this is a 79 Oldsmobile front end on it. It has a El Camino back end on it. This is Oldsmobile doors. There's a couple other components that it has on it from Oldsmobile. Um, I don't think the door unlocked on this thing. Oh, yes, it is. All right, let me turn on the light. All right, so it has a 79 Oldsmobile dash in it. This motor is equipped with a Pontiac motor. Like I said, that was swapped in this car. My dad is a Pontiac man, but I'm converting them on over to an LS. Got a 5.3 is gonna go in it. I'll show y'all that in a minute. What else can I tell you about this car? Off the top of my head, another thing, this car was sitting for I think 8 or 9 years. So as y'all see right now, this is how I got it. It was way up there in the front of the yard. So it sat there for like 9 or 10 years, just untouched. My dad is a truck driver, so I mean, life got in the way. He had to work, all that, and so finally got him motivated back. And one day I just said, enough is enough. Yeah. Finally I just said enough is enough. So I had to go ahead and tackle it for him. Some things you just gotta go at the. You just gotta be, you just gotta put your faith in it and just go at it. Cause some things aren't gonna get done if you just let them sit there. It's just like surprising somebody with something that they always wanted. You just gotta go at it and tackle it, and hope for the best. Like I said though, man. Like I said, y'all see what it is, Brian. This ain't no base model, nothing like that, man. This car right here, if I could ever get started on the LS swap for it, I have a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to get my car swapped and all that and done. Then I got a 6-liter that's going in the Camaro. Got to get that all built and all that. But this car right here is more than likely, I'm probably going to push this in front of my El Camino. So I do a whole video on everything I have, what all parts you need, this, that, and the third. I actually found somebody who builds custom LS swap mounts, frame mounts. It has a bushing in it. It's basically like a factory small block mount. There's no plate adapters in it, nothing like that. It's just bolts onto the motor, bolts onto the frame, sit it inside the car and go. I have a G-Force cross member for this car, shorty headers that's already on the motor, has an intake, carburetor, all that good stuff on it. So like I said though, this car is basically a time capsule of how it was before my dad set it up. This used to be his little race car, whatever. Basically a little time capsule for the most part. Like I said though, I do need a good body man in Houston. Like I said, I'm trying to get that wet on this car. So yeah. Well, he want the weight on it. So I mean, I need a real good body man to tackle this car. So for the most part, this car's kind of rough. Man, this thing is rough. I got a lot of work cut out for me. And I'm gonna show y'all the motor for it. Like I said, we don't play around with our cars and our motors and all that, man. We get that right. There go the motor for it. Like I said, MSD 6014 ignition. This just a little bullcrap carburetor on it just to get things started. Had it running and all that. This car gonna have AC in it, all that, all new coil packs. Harness ran nice and clean on it. Wires, it has plugs in it. Man, this thing ready. Transmission back there built TH400. He going with a 2800 stall. My motor gonna have a 3600 stall in it. I'm trying to think what else off the top of my head that I can tell y'all. Um, Originally he wanted to go EFI, truck style intake, all that type of stuff. And I pretty much talked to him, told him the downfalls and what's good about having EFI, this and that, and how easy it'll be to tune his car with the carburetor on it, and how he'll be able to tune it. I wouldn't have to be there and all this and that. Because like I said, I do tune cars. I have HP tuners and all that, so I do tune them a little bit, but nothing major like that. But so I told him, and he made his decision. Found the 5.3 up there in Minnesota. Motor only had 72,000 miles on it, which is the motor display is called. Only had 72,000 miles on it. Um, it's not a Gen 4 motor. It's a Gen 3. So, I mean, that was a downfall right there. But that motor is a Gen 4. I have a Gen 4 6-liter coming. All this and that. But let me ask some of y'all. I know I'm usually one answering the mechanic questions or whatever, but I'm going to ask one. What do y'all think the problem is? I have a good field system hooked up on this motor. Everything flowing in, returning out as it's supposed to. Um, I got the map, all that stuff hooked up like it's supposed to. Everything all hooked up, real nice. Um, see if I can plug this in. The cam sensor hooked up. Everything is hooked up in this thing. This thing will not start for the life of me. Will not start. It has a fully done harness and all that on it. So I kind of want to ask y'all that question. What do y'all think is wrong with the thing? Like I said, I cannot get the thing to run. It cranks over perfectly fine. The field system going there and returning. So I kind of had the idea of, could one of these things be stuck shut or stuck open or whatever. But if it was stuck open, obviously just study don't feel. So I don't think that's the problem. And then I'm going to do what I always do with all my motors. Replace the cam sensor and the crank sensor. I have not done that with this motor. I built the motor and I said I'm going to just see if it'll run. It would not run. So I kind of need some answers, or if you know of anything, or if you think you know. Yeah, it was deleted. The VATS was deleted on it. So the harness was sent out to Arkansas, and I had to do the harness, the VATS. I had a little bass tune put in it because the thing was not gonna run with the it has the MS4 cam in it, Texas Speed MS4 cam, 649, 605. I think it's, what is it, 239, 242. On a 109 low separation angle. So I mean, it's a pretty healthy cam, and it was not gonna sit up there and crank up on a stock tune. So I I kind of think he did delete the VATS, but at the same time, some telling me that maybe he did not delete it. But even if he didn't know, the motor should still kind of chirp a little bit and try to crank up. But I checked these, pulled these out, checked every single coil. Marcus Callaway. I'm not sure what the guy name is. I'm not really sure what his name is. I think that might be his name though. I don't really know, man. I think that might be his name though. So what I'm thinking about doing is I want to take this to my tuner. I have a tuner. He's a little Mexican guy. The dude tunes, like he can tune a car. He tuned my '02 GMC Sierra, fully tuned truck. He tuned that, and that thing woke up a lot. Um, and so I had this '07 computer that I'm setting up to run on either E85 or something. Now what happened? I had my brother-in-law, the dude that I had my brother-in-law, and he told me about the guy, and he was like, "Well, he can probably help you on what you want." And I was like, "I mean, if he can, that'd be great." So I kind of contacted that guy, and he told me everything that he knew. That's basically how I found the word of mouth, basically. So I talked to the guy. He told me what he knew. I told him what I wanted. He was like, cool, I had you set all up. And I knew it was gonna be a problem because he guaranteed me that that harness would be back at my house to my door um in 2 weeks. 2 weeks passed by. I still don't have a harness. I haven't heard anything from the guy. Um sorry. I did not have a harness. What's your number? Or better yet, just email me. My email is trucking at 4570 at gmail.com. It's the AT, not the at sign. Man, that kind of messed with me right there. That dude sit up there and told me that the harness will be here 2 weeks at my house at the door. And I mess around and I mess around, call the guy. He tell me the same week, oh, he about to ship it out. Let's see, how can I? Let's do that. I'm gonna call you right after the live stream. Anyways, I called the guy. I talked to him, and the dude tell me, oh, it'll be here in 2 weeks or in a week. The same week he told me it was gonna be there. Um, and so at that point I was like, all right, cool, I got you. All right, I feel you. You know, I know you have a lot of work or whatever. And so the dude, a week go by again, and at this point, it's like summertime. You know, it's like June or July or whatever at this point. And so I'm kind of getting fed up because I want to have this motor running, and I still didn't have all the parts that I need to put the carburetor setup on it. So I was just gonna drop it in the car, put the 3600 saw in it, and I was gonna run it like that. And so I talked to the guy, and I'm like, bro, what's going on, man? Like, if you can't do my harness, yeah, bro didn't even send me a tracking number. And man, I had that harness there. I called the guy and I said, man, I'm gonna have a harness to you that same week. I go there Monday and I send the harness out to him. The harness get there Tuesday. Man, I put priority shipping and everything on this harness because I needed it. This was holding me back. I was gonna drop it right into that car before I had decided I was gonna drop that motor back into there. So, man, that kind of got me all fed up. Yeah, man, that's and my brother-in-law, he ain't even had no problem with the dude. He said the dude was cool, all that. He had his harness in there. I guess that was before he got real busy or whatever. But it's either something janky with this harness or something. Something ain't wired up right in this harness. Cause this thing should have fired right up, even if the vat's still on it. Something wrong with that harness, man. I don't know what it is, but something is wrong with it. Yeah, that's his number. Yep, that's that man number. Something is wrong with this harness. I don't know. I don't want to really lose my cool on the dude, you know. Um, but I was thinking about doing a little payment plan with the dude. I done paid the man, but I was thinking about kind of separating his money, but I had to pay for it before I even sent him the harness. So I mean, that was kind of it. But something I don't understand about that man. That man will take my money real fast, but he won't send my harness back. Like I said though, that kind of just sat my car up for this summer. This car only been out 2 or 3 times this whole summer, and if it wasn't for him, this thing would have been out there driving, whatever, man. I'd have been out there making videos with it, doing burnouts and stuff with it. But nah, this dude want to hold me back and mess around. And I talked to dude. Originally, that harness was supposed to go in this car, right? So I told the dude, I was like, bruh, come on, man, don't make this hang down here. Cause if I want this to hang down here, I could just use a stock truck harness, and I could have just stand it out myself. I told the man, I said, bruh, don't run it right here. I said, man, take all this. I want all this that go to the main PCM. I want all this to sit up there and run around. And matter of fact, I sit up here and show y'all what I wanted and how I wanted it. And he couldn't even do that. That's sad. Pay that man, what, almost $400? I think it was about $400 or something like that. I can't really remember off the top of my head. Man, that's pitiful. Oh yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to call you, Box. 'Cause, man, it's paying me off, bro. Spent all that money on a harness, and I could have then saved that money and bought me a Harley Dominator or something. But you try to get a brother some, a little work or whatever, and that man don't want to turn your stuff back into you. Now, not to be racist or anything, because I know there's some good black workers out there like myself and Box and LS Chevy Rider and Cat Loco and all them. But man, you try to give some black people work and they just want the money. They don't want to do the work, and that's pitiful. But originally this was an LT car, but I told the man I ain't want the harness sitting over there because I'm gonna run my cold air intake right here, or I was gonna run my cold air intake right here. So I told the man, I said, I want to come right here by the AC box and sit in this little hole, or I want to run all the way inside the car up under my dash, and I want my car to look clean under the hood, you know. So I told bruh, he was like, all right, man, I got you, I got you, I got you. And the man sent me some pictures or whatever. And I was like, what is this? Little bullcrap harness or whatever it is. You know, I paid all the extras for it. I paid extra for this type of loom. I think that was like an extra $50 or $60 added to what the base cost was. I told him I didn't want a knock sensors. He charged me for that. I told him I didn't want a couple other things. He charged me for that. Man, this is retarded. And I guarantee you, when I put that MSD 6014 ignition system on here, with that intake and that carb on here, I bet you this thing gonna fire right up. But yeah though. So, man, I was about to give him some more business. I was about to send my 6-liter harness out to him. After this happened, man, I don't want to mess with him. So I have to try to find somebody else. I don't really want to buy no PCI harness or whatever it's called, PSI harness. I don't want to drop that much on no harness, saying that I can just take that money and go save up for a Harley Dominator or something. But yeah, and I was gonna have the harness run right in there, sit right behind the center console in this car, sit right behind the center console, and I was gonna have my engine light sitting right here and all that. Matter of fact, the man didn't even want to throw in, he didn't even want to hook up my OBD2 port, my wire switch. He didn't even want to hook that up. Where is that at? Here you go. The man didn't even want to hook this up. So that's already a bad rep. This was already on the harness and everything. He cut it off and gonna throw it in the box, and I'm like, what you doing, bro? Come on now. You could have hooked that up and all that. So that's just some people for you, man. Let's see, I'm trying to think what else. I had, and that ain't even my computer. That's a whole different computer from what I had. I had a it was a different 411 computer. And come to find out, and the reason I noticed that this ain't my computer right here on the side, I wrote my initials JT on it, and I put 60 on the side of it, and I marked it with 2002 because that's what I had, was a 2002. So he sent it back, and I called him, and I'm like, I know this ain't my computer or whatever, and so I sent him the pictures and all that for it, and he sent my computer back. He sent that computer back the same day, so it got here 2 days after I talked to the guy. And so I have my computer back, but I'm more than sure my computer not flashed. There's a couple other things that I'm not really satisfied with. He don't even give you enough room to run this one right here. This coil pack plug, he don't even give you enough room to run this. I have to take this apart, sit this on the side of the valve cover just to get it to even hook up correctly. And it's supposed to be sitting right here, but I ain't really tripping out on that. I'm gonna change these to chromes anyways, so I ain't really tripping out on that right there. Let's see how I have. See these chromes that's on this motor? That's the ones I'm gonna put on there. So I mean, man, it's kind of crazy, just the stuff that happened. I mean, I pay all that money for a harness, and I'm looking at possibly having to get this harness reworked or selling it or something. I don't want to just sell somebody a jank harness, because at the end of the day, that's kind of a whole move. and I don't really want to put somebody else in that situation. But I mean, come on now. You could have just did the harness right and all that. And I'm sitting up here cranking this motor over. I pour oil in it at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and I check everything. I prime the motor for oil pressure. I sit up there, turn it. Prime my oil up there, all up here on the top. Make sure all my rockers and everything good. Making sure all that's oiling, my push rods oiling, all that good stuff. Everything looking fine. So I go over here because I ain't have no feel earlier. So I go over here. I grab some carb cleaner because this should start the motor. I grab some carb cleaner, open up the throttle blade, spray some carb cleaner in there. I sit up there and crank the motor over. I'm over there cranking the motor for like 5 or 6 minutes. And I stopped for a minute. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe I did something wrong or this or that. And so I'm checking everything. I'm like, oh, the cam sensor, the crank sensor, let me check all that. So I check everything and I pull everything out, check everything. Everything looked fine. So I put it back in there and it did the same exact thing. So I'm like, well, this is the symptoms of either a cam position sensor or a crank position sensor. So I go back in there again. I check everything. I look back at it again. I'm like, this can't be the problem. So I'm looking around, checking the harness, looking at all the plugs. Like I pulled this plug off, checking the plugs and stuff. I'm like, well, all that check out. But if we fast forward back to when I first got the harness, I'm looking at some things and I'm like, what is this? Don't no professional do this to their harnesses. Man, all this need to be taped all up or whatever. This ain't professional. Like, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm trying to get a man a chance. So I pull out this paper. And I don't feel like calling the man back because I don't feel like saying some things that I might regret saying to the man. So I pull everything back apart. Um, and I ground it. I ground one to the head because I know that the head is a decent ground on these motors. Even though it's aluminum, I know it's a real good ground. So I ground one to the head. I ground one to the block, ground one right here. So I go back, I crank the motor back, and I look at this paper, and he talking about some, don't grind it to the head, grind it to the block, this and that. So I take one off, I stretch it way over here to this part of the block on this top bolt for the trans, and I put it down in this bottom bolt for the trans. And then I have a ground wire that I always run on all my LS motors. Whenever I'm running them on the stand, I always take this long one because you can get them off of this part. Whenever you have a motor, you can get them off that part. So I take it off that part, run it all the way across the motor, run all the way on the bottom, and I hook it up right here. I bolt it up right there, and then I bolt another one up to the block. I mean to the battery. And so I'm cranking it up even more, and I'm like, is it another ground wrong with the motor? So I'm looking again, and I'm like, you know what? Screw it. So I hook up my jumper cables out of my El Camino. I take my jumper cables out of my El Camino, hook them up on here, hook it up to the battery, hook it up to different parts of the motor where I know it's gonna be a good ground. So I come over here, I grab a ground off the back of here, and I'm touching around my fuel pump wire, seeing what else is a good ground. And I come over here, I think I came somewhere right here or something, and I took the paint off my motor just to try to get a good ground. Genuine 1976. I think I watched that dude before. I think I watched that, man. Come over here, man. I'm sanding the mess out of my block. I just lay like 3 or 4 coats of paint on my motor. So I'm sanding away on this motor because it was real thick. I had primer and all that on it. I'm sanding away on it, trying to get it as smooth as possible. And I put one right here. And then I come over here and I put one right here. And where else was it? Yeah, I basically ground the crap out of this motor. And it got to the point I ground the motor so good, the starter was turning over fast. It started turning over faster and faster the more I put ground to it. And so I'm like, this thing gotta start up. I mean, there's no way it can't be starting up. Because if you look at this harness, to be perfectly honest with you, I could have just took this harness, took my took this PCM, and I had the connectors for it. Took this PCM, put some connectors on here, and I could have made this thing run off of this harness. So, I mean, this is pitiful, man. This why some people don't really want to deal with, LSs in general, because some of this stuff type of happen. Man, this ain't cool, bro. This really ain't. And You know, I was gonna give him some good feedback. I really was, because I was expecting, oh, it's a harness, it should work out fine. And I started hearing about them from a couple of different people, and I'm like, you know, maybe I'll just get lucky. You know, get lucky with them. So at that point, my harness was already gone to him, and I checked this thing back, bro. This thing ain't even working. Man, this thing won't even fire any spark to it. I come over here, bro. Look, let me show you something, Box. I come over here, take the spark plug out, take the spark plug wire out. I had a spark plug. I don't know where it went. I think I threw it away. I took a spark plug. I set it in here, because you know the old school way. And I put it in here, and I'm sitting there, and I'm turning the motor over, trying to look for some spark. I don't see no blue spark from it. And so I come down here again, once again, because like I said, I like to check myself a whole lot. And I come down here, I get its power again. So I come over here, hook that up, then I get its power. And I hit a relays clicking on. I don't know if y'all can hear, but I hit a relays clicking on. So I'm like, is there something wrong with my motor or something? Like, you know, because I know the motor fine, but I'm looking again. I'm like, did I put my cam and timing wrong or what? And so I look back again. I'm like, I know I degreed the cam. I put the degree wheel on it and all that, and I know that it was at 0, 0, top dead center, everything. So I'm like, it can't be my problem. And so I tried again. Man, I've been out here for like 4 or 5 hours, just trying to get this thing to even chirp a little bit. Shit, this bitch ain't even fart shit or nothing. So I don't know. It's pitiful though, bro. It's really pitiful. When I go in the house and I tell my dad, I'm like, Dad, this thing ain't working. I'm like, what's wrong with the harness? And so my dad, we all come to the same conclusion. We either like it's the crank sensor or the cam sensor. So I'm like, nah, it can't be that, because I heard something about this dude and I wasn't too sure exactly what his name was, but DeMarcus Calloway. And I'm like, could it be him or whatever? And then Box come on here and he told me that that's who it is. He told me his phone number. I'm like, yeah, that's him. So, but yeah, though. And this is pitiful, bro. After this, man, I'm either gonna start doing my harnesses myself or something, cause I don't really trust nobody no more at this point. It's pitiful. I gave that man $400, almost $500 with the shipping and all that, cause I wanted it to get there as quick as possible and back as fast as possible. And I told the dude, I was like, I need this thing urgently. I need it like in a week or two if you can get it back to me. But yeah, though, man. So this kind of held up my whole car, and it got to the point I was so mad. I took all the money that I had saved up for this car. I had like 8,500 saved up for this car, and I was like, forget it, bro. I'm tired of it. So I took it. I bought the rear end for that Camaro. I bought an 8.8 for it. I bought control arms, coilovers, everything for that car that you could possibly need and want. And then I still had some left over. And so I'm like, you know, if I can't get this thing to run, I'm gonna just go ahead, take my El Camino again, and I'm gonna go ahead and put my control arms and all that stuff on it, and do my F-body springs on it. But you should all know, you can put F-body springs on a G-body or a oil box. Put them on there, cut half a coil off. You lower the thing about 1 inch in the back, and it'll bring the front down a little bit. You can still tub 28-inch tall tires, you know, 20s. You know, most people they gonna run 26s on here, but to get to the point, I spent that money, the rest of that money on here, got some parts that I needed. What else did I buy for it? Like I said, man, I was fully prepared. I still am prepared for it. Come over here, bro. I'm gonna call you, man. I'm gonna call you. I had these plates and everything that I need. You feel me? Wanted setback plates and all that. So I mean, I'm done. I'm pretty much done with. After my dad car and after my Camaro get done, I don't know if I'm gonna LS swap anything else. Other than if I get me a box or something, I'm pretty much done with LS swaps in general. But I'm gonna go and help out this live, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and hit my boy up box and see what he talking about, see what he gonna tell me. But yeah though, so I'll hit y'all back later, man.